If you are evaluating WMS or warehouse management system, you need to know which are the top 10 WMS systems in 2025. That's what we have discussed in this video. So let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I'm principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent vendor agnostic analyst and advisory firm. We help companies with their technology selection needs as well as any sort of change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 WMS systems in 2025. Before we look at the list, let's look at some of the variables that we generally use to compile these lists. So for WMS systems, specifically, the variables that are going to matter is some of these platforms are going to be best of breed, which is what we consider as the WMS category. If this is going to be just the module on top of either ERP system or any other categories, generally they are not included as part of this list. We are looking at companies of all sizes. So that's going to be your small, medium, large, whatever the company might be. So if you're looking for the specific list for your market segment, we might have those lists available as well. But this is slightly generalized list. So pay close attention to the commentary for each system. Generally, we talk about the systems, which market segment they are going to be relevant for. So just because a system is ranking #1 on this list, that might not be the fit for your target market segment. So you need to pay close attention. But this is also going to be across industries. So that is going to be another layer that you need to pay attention to. So we will be covering different industries and their challenges as we move along with the video. Then other variable that you need to think about is some WMS systems are designed for shippers, and shippers is going to be a term that is very commonly used in the warehouse industry. So this is going to be your traditional value chain. That's your manufacturer, distributor, and retailer. And then some WMS systems may have either the business processes or they might be exclusively designed for 3PL companies. In general, the needs of 3PL companies are going to be slightly different. So if you are 3PL looking for warehouse, then you should be considering the ones that can accommodate 3PL processes. Sometimes you might have the hybrid business model. In those cases, you are looking for the systems that can accommodate both of these business models. Now, some of the unique layers that you are going to find in many of the systems, especially the ones that are designed for 3PL, they will include things such as your value-added services as well as billing. Now, these services might not be found in the systems designed for your shippers. The other advanced features that you might want to look at is slotting. Now, the smaller systems are not going to have those location-based intelligence. And then some of the hardware integration. The deeper you get into the warehouse category or the warehouse management category, you are going to find many different integration points. And the WMS category itself is really big. Sometimes that is included as part of the supply chain suite, but even within your WMS layer, you might have several different components because now companies want to integrate this with their vending machines or their ASRS systems. There are so many different devices inside the warehouse that they would like to integrate with. Now, if you are going to develop all of these integration in a custom manner, then that could be very cost prohibitive for you. So again, you need to decide which integrations you are going to require And if those are going to be pre-baked, even with the pre-baked integration, you still need to vet those. But for the most part, you at least need to evaluate in terms of where they are with their integration. Now, the other layers that you might find is sometimes the WMS systems are going to be integrated or intertwined with the OMS or distributed order management capabilities. This is going to be especially common in retail centric verticals. So you might want to look at that as well. And again, we have offered the commentary throughout the video regarding that, which systems are going to have those capabilities and which ones are not going to have those. The criteria that we have used to compile this list is number one, the product share acquisition strategy focused on WMS category, product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So those are some of the factors. And now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Texas. And Texas is ideal for the healthcare or DTC centric verticals. That's where they are going to have a lot of different capabilities. Some of the strengths to keep in mind with Texas is point of use inventory management. And this is especially common when you are going to have many different healthcare facilities, and the in transaction inventory tracking is going to be important for those. And the example is going to be, for example, inside the hospital, they are keeping track of many different things that are being used in procedures. So generally, you are going to have some sort of hardware integration inside the hospital to provide them the visual cues. Sometimes that sort of falls under that whole Kanban process. Now, these are the capabilities you might not find with the other systems that might not be designed for this particular application. So that is going to be one strength. Then you also have the multi-location capabilities. And multi-location capabilities are fairly unique as well. When you have to accommodate many different branches, you have to do intra-day inventory transfer between those locations, or if you need to look up the inventory across locations. Again, this is going to be more relevant in business models where there are going to be a lot of different branches, and the inventory movement is happening between those branches as part of the warehouse process. Then you are probably going to require that. A lot of ERP systems are going to claim that they can accommodate that process as well. But then, if this does not reside inside the warehouse management system, then your barcoding process may not work. And even if you are using a WMS add on as part of the ERP WMS module, but the advanced processes or advanced transactions that you are going to require, they might not have those. So that's where Texas is going to be great fit for those scenarios. Then it is also going to be e-commerce as well as retail friendly. So for e-commerce and retail centric business models, you have very unique processes that you need to accommodate. And generally, the kind of inventory you are going to have for retail is going to be very different for B2B or manufacturing. Their warehouse processes are very different in general. So if you are going to be in DTC or e-commerce for those industries, Texas could be a great fit. The limitations that you're looking at, it's number one, the outdated technology, not a comprehensive suite compared to some of the other systems that we have on this list. For example, when you compare this with Blue Yonder or Manhattan. And their ecosystem is going to be fairly limited as well. So if you're looking for any consulting help outside of their professional services, you might not have many options around that. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is MOB3 WMS. And MOB3 WMS is ideal for process manufacturing companies. As well as they are very unique in terms of their sort of the technical offering, because they really emphasize the device as iOS, meaning if you are going to be using iOS devices inside your warehouse, then you will find slightly more native experience. And generally with mobile applications, the experience could differ if it is not designed for native interface, and sometimes that does affect the warehouse efficiency. So let's say if you are going to be primarily iOS shop, then this could be a great fit. Now, the nuances for the process manufacturing, and generally, if you look at the vanilla warehouse management systems, their limitation is going to be that they are not going to support as many attributes at the item level as well as at the lot level. And those are the challenges from the process manufacturing perspective. And if they are not supported by default, sometimes companies are going to claim that, you know what, you can create as many custom fields or custom attributes as you like. But if these processes are not necessarily built, or if the data model is not supported natively, then you might run into challenges. So if you're going to be in process manufacturing, you are looking for simpler system, you are probably starting on your warehouse management system need, then this could be a great fit for smaller companies. The strengths that you're looking at from the Move 3 perspective, again, if you're looking for slightly more iOS friendly or the cloud native system, then this could be a great fit. They also have very advanced capabilities for process manufacturing as well as for SMB centric customers. In these smaller systems, you are not going to find those capabilities. And then the advanced capabilities for process as well as batch manufacturing. And those could be very difficult as well in general if the warehouse management system is not necessarily designed for process as well as batch manufacturing. Now, the limitations that you have is the technology as well as compatibility issues. So the biggest limitation is going to be, since they are tight coupling themselves with iOS devices, other devices are not going to be supported, but then users have also reported some of the technology as well as compatibility issues. So you can check those on some of the review forums or maybe on Reddit. And then there are some reports of the software bugs from some users. So again, do your research on these forums and try to dig into these areas. Our goal is going to be to provide as much information as possible in terms of which areas you should be focusing on when you are evaluating these systems so that you don't miss on these things. Now, this is not going to be suitable for enterprises. Again, this is a very small system, so it's not fair to compare them with other bigger systems. For example, let's say if you compare this with your Logiva or Blue Yonder, again, those are going to be slightly bigger system. This is designed for very small application, very small use case, a smaller warehouse. So if you're looking for simpler, cheaper system, then this could be a great fit, and that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Logiva WMS. And Logiva WMS is designed for e-commerce, parcel-centric operations. They are going to have all of those layers, WMS, WCS, WAS. So this is slightly advanced system. So generally, you would use systems such as this when you have outgrown, for example, Move 3 or Texas, then you would probably move to this. But again, the industry focus is very different. This is only going to be applicable for e-commerce and parcel-centric operations. So if you have, let's say, the 3PL processes, or if you are going to have the B2B or distribution-centric operations, it might not work as well with Logiva. The strength that you're looking at from the Logiva perspective is ideal for e-commerce and parcel-centric operations, and then it's feature-rich. Again, they have very advanced features compared to the other smaller systems. So that's a huge plus. And then you are looking at cloud native UI and UX. A lot of systems on this list are going to have very legacy feeling, very legacy interfaces. So with Logiva, at least you are getting the cloud native UI. Limitations you need to keep in mind is the learning curve. And again, the system is slightly more complex compared to the smaller systems such as your Move 3. So you are going to have learning curve because of the number of layers. You are going to have the kind of advanced transactions that they are able to support. And because of that, sometimes users feel that they need to learn a lot. They would care for slightly simpler system. So make sure you are choosing Logiva when you are going to have a need for that. Otherwise, you might find resistance from your users. Probably not going to be as user friendly as compared to the simpler system. Again, this goes in conjunction with your learning curve limitation. And for complex enterprises, they might not have as deep coverage. So that's going to be another limitation that you are going to have. And that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Softian. And Softian targets very similar industries as your Info WMS, meaning they are going to be heavy in manufacturing centric industries. For example, automotive, aerospace, or chemicals. And sometimes, for example, let's say if you look at Move 3, It's going to be great for process manufacturing centric industries, but sometimes the industries are also going to be complex where they are going to have the combination of discrete plus process. In those cases, it might be slightly challenging. Now, the strengths that you have from the software perspective is they have robust batch capabilities, and they also have seamless integration with other solutions. And this is going to be with any sort of solutions that you might be using, then you are going to have the integration for those. But again, you need to do research in terms of which application you have in your solution set or the stack or the tech stack, and then you need to compare what they are able to support. And then they are also going to have the distributed order management capabilities. Again, distributed order management capabilities are very unique features. Only some WMS systems are going to support, especially the ones designed for retail centric operations are probably going to have that. The limitations to keep in mind is not tailored for enterprise scale operations. So that's going to be a limitation. And then it does require a lot of third party add ons. So that's going to be another limitation that you need to keep in mind. And then maybe too nuanced for very small operations. It's going to be slightly more difficult. It's bigger than Logiva. So if you're looking for Move 3 size solution, then this might be slightly bigger. And that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Info WMS. And Info WMS is ideal for very similar industries as software. So that is going to be your automotive, aerospace, chemicals. And these are the industries that Info targets from their larger solution perspective, which is going to be their LN or M3 ERP. So if you are going to have LN or M3, you might find some synergies overall in terms of the process integration, etc. But again, you still need to do evaluation and research in terms of the integration flows that they are going to support. They are going to be enough for your needs or not, but for the most part, it is going to be pre-integrated. So at least you don't have to worry about that. The other strength to keep in mind is the seamless integration with the other Info ERPs. So if you are planning to have most of the components in your architecture from Info and your team is okay with that, then there could be some synergies there. And then comprehensive supply chain capabilities. So as part of Info suite, you are getting a lot more than just the WMS system. So that's going to be a huge plus with Info WMS. And then they also have very strong 3D warehouse functionality. Now, if you care for 3D warehouse, then this could be a great fit. But again, if you don't have implementation budget to be able to configure that, then you might run into challenges, even though the capability is supported, but enabling that might require substantial implementation budget. So make sure you have a real need for 3D warehouse functionality. But if you can do that, or if you care for that, then you would appreciate the capabilities that they are bringing to the table with respect to 3D warehouse. Now, limitations you need to keep in mind is the limited suitability for large enterprises. Again, this is a very mid-market centric system designed for upper mid-market companies. So if you have very enterprise grade processes, or if your business model is going to be fairly diverse, where you care for many different business models as part of your WMS processes, then you might find some challenges that will not be with some of the enterprise grade system. So this is designed for the upper mid-market, but then cost is going to be lower as well. So again, you need to balance those priorities in terms of what you care for most. The limitations to keep in mind is it's not going to have as a strong TMS as you will find with some of the best of breed TMS systems. And some other suites on this list might be slightly richer with their TMS execution capabilities. So that's going to be a limitation. And then it's going to be suboptimal for 3PL, primarily designed for shippers, even though they have some 3PL capabilities, but it's not as rich as the systems designed for 3PL processes. So those are some of the limitations. And that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Oracle WMS. And Oracle WMS is ideal for companies that are going to be on Oracle Cloud ERP, even though you are going to find Oracle WMS installed with the other ecosystems as well. So the strengths you have from the Oracle WMS perspective is it is a very enterprise grade WMS system, meaning they will be able to accommodate many different business models as well as processes. So it's a very comprehensive suite for the enterprise grade capabilities and pre-integration with the other Oracle apps. So if you are going to be Oracle shop, you are going to find some technical synergies there with these systems. And it's proven for high volume transactions. So again, if you are going to have that Fortune 500 workload, then you might not have as many options. So Oracle WMS is very well proven there. The limitations you need to keep in mind from the Oracle WMS perspective is it's probably going to be overwhelming for smaller companies. So if you're looking for very small, easy to use system, then this might not be the best. The dependency on other add-ons for specific capabilities. Again, this is slightly generalized system covering many different industries. So when you look for the last mile functionality or last mile integration, it might not have that supported. So then you are looking for a lot of consulting, implementation, custom integration budget that might be easier with the systems that are pre-configured, pre-designed for very specific industries, for example, Info WMS or Software. Now, the expensive customization for compliance. So, any compliance specific capabilities that you need to configure if you are going to be in very regulated industries, then you would be spending a lot in consulting, etc., in configuring, or you might need to use an add on. Now, depending upon the quality of that add on, that will dictate how many issues you are going to get with your WMS. So, those are some of the considerations, and that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is SAP EWM. And SAP EWM is very well adopted, especially in the SAP S4HANA install base. So, one of the key advantages of SAP EWM is that it can support both the decoupled as well as the embedded architecture. And again, for some companies, this is going to be a need if their warehouse architecture is going to be standalone and they are looking to support that for 24 cross 7 processes when their ERP may not be 24 cross 7. So if you are looking to decouple that, SAP EWM can support both of these processes. Some warehouse systems may be standalone, they might not be as embedded. So then you are going to run into challenges related to transactional embeddedness if you care for that. So it can support both of these architecture. Again, the power of HANA. Now, the power of HANA might be debatable. The reason why HANA is really powerful is because it has been used for very high volume spaces. So if you're going to have workload of Fortune 100, Fortune 500, then in those cases, the power of HANA matters. But then smaller companies complained that even though HANA is great for smaller companies, it's just too much heavy lift because they need to convert from your SQL semantics to your HANA, and that requires very heavy lifting. So it might not be worth for every company, but that is something to keep in mind that they have that firepower incorporated as part of their technical infrastructure, which is obviously very powerful for high volume cases. And that's why SAP EWM is a great fit for the enterprise companies. Advanced capabilities for 3PL. So they do have some very advanced capabilities for 3PL companies that might be missing in systems that are primarily designed for shippers. For example, let's say if you compare this with Logiva, they are not going to have as strong capabilities for 3PL processes. So if you care for the diverse business model, diverse processes, including 3PL, then SAP EWM is a great fit. Some of the limitations to keep in mind is too big for smaller companies. If you're a small company, this is probably not the best system for you. There might be smaller systems that you should be using first before moving on to SAP EWM. You are going to have substantial learning curve just because of the number of layers, number of business models it can support, and that's why it is going to have the learning curve. The implementation is probably going to be expensive as well. Licensing is likely to be expensive as well. So again, if you don't need this, don't buy this. If you are simply starting on your WMS journey, then this might not be the best fit. But let's say if you have outgrown either Infor WMS or Softian, then you might be looking for slightly more enterprise grade systems, and that's when you need to consider SAP EWM, and that's number 4. Number three on our list is Kerber or high jump. Kerber or high jump is that mid-market system very comparable to your Logiva WMS. So this is going to be for SMBs that are looking for slightly more e-commerce parcel-centric operations, and they care for that cloud-native experience. So some of these trends to keep in mind is fairly comprehensive suite for both WMS and TMS. Now, Kerber has acquired HighJump. HighJump used to be the standalone WMS system. In Kerber suite, they are becoming more of the supply chain suite. So they have all of those capabilities that you are going to find with other larger suites, for example, Blue Yonder or Manhattan. So Kerber is able to provide very advanced capabilities in the suite. But let's say if you're looking only for best of breed WMS system, then still it is going to be high. You can buy high jump, but then obviously their pricing, licensing, etc., is going to be aligned that you are buying complete suite for them. So that is something to keep in mind, that it's no longer the standalone system compared to the other systems that we have on the list. But if you care for the synergies between the systems or the integration, then this could be a great pre-integrated WMS and TMS. And again, integrating them could be a heavier lift. So if you care for pre-baked integration, this could be a great fit. But again, you need to evaluate against your processes, your data model. So by default, it might not work as is, but it's not going to be as much heavy lifting as integrating from scratch. Then you also have the DSD capabilities, and in some industries, DSD capabilities, which is going to be your direct store delivery. It's a DSD, and those are going to be extremely common in certain industries as well. So if you care to host this process as part of your WMS, then this is going to be a great fit. WMS or TMS, then this is going to be a great fit. Some limitations to keep in mind is users have reported issues with pre-baked integration. This is going to be with most systems. So even though they are going to say that the integrations are pre-baked, but if your process and data model, they are not aligned with the state of pre-baked integration, in most cases you are going to find issues. And that's where that the quality check process, the vetting process is going to be super critical, whether your workflows, the way you are visualizing your workflows, are going to be consistent with the way they have configured their workflows. And any deviations you are going to have, sometimes it could be very hard to accommodate that with the pre-baked systems, because they are going to be highly constraining. But again, this is where you need to make a decision whether you want to go with pre-baked or need to design from custom. Custom is going to be much more expensive, but you are going to have the flexibility, fluidity that you might not have with the constrained system. And with the constrained system, you need to review their proprietary code. You need to learn. So there could be a little heavy lifting there as well. Some people don't appreciate. They are going to have limited supply chain suite capabilities compared to the other larger suites that we have on this list. And then it's not necessarily for the enterprises. So if you are enterprise, maybe outgrowing Logiva or High Jump, then you are looking for something like Blue Yonder or SAP WM. So High Jump is going to be somewhere in the middle for the mid-market companies, and that is number 3. Number 2 on our list is Blue Yonder. And Blue Yonder is very enterprise grade system, very comparable to your SAP EWM. Blue Yonder is going to have a lot more capabilities in general from the supply chain perspective, but it's a very comprehensive enterprise grade suite. So obviously there's going to be tons of learning involved with the system as well. So again, don't buy Blue Yonder unless you need that. You have outgrown some of the mid-market systems before going to Blue Yonder. Otherwise, you might have implementation adoption issues. The strengths to keep in mind with Blue Yonder perspective is ideal for retail-centric industries. That's where Blue Yonder really shines. They have done some business in the manufacturing space as well. But from the manufacturing, the way their suite is designed, it might not be the best fit because they are going to bring all of that retail boilerplate that might not be as relevant for pure play manufacturing industries. So that is something to keep in mind. And then you are going to have the pre-integrated support for all of the supply chain modes, whether you are looking at international, domestic, whatever support that you're looking for, you are going to have that. So those are some of the strengths. The limitations to keep in mind is too large for SMBs and cost prohibitive for SMBs as well. Again, this is a very large suite, so it's going to be expensive. And then lack of a network component in the supply chain suite. So that's going to be another limitation with Blue Yonder, and that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Manhattan Associates. And this is ideal for grocery and retail centric operations. That's where it is adopted substantially. The strengths to keep in mind from Manhattan perspective is the suite includes a pre-integrated point of sale, even though you still need to do a lot of work from the integration perspective, but at least you are going to have some capabilities to be able to enable that. With other systems, you might not even have that. So that's going to be a plus for Manhattan. Now, capable of handling enterprise workloads. It has been deployed and proven with very large companies. So that's going to be the second strength. And then the effective management of complex verticals. So that's going to be another strength. Some of the limitations to keep in mind is incomplete supply chain suite. So the supply chain suite is not going to be as comprehensive as, for example, let's say if you compare this with Blue Yonder, they are going to have a lot more capabilities from the supply chain perspective. This is going to be a great WMS, but if you're looking for a suite, this might not be the best fit. Requires add-on for comprehensive supply chain capabilities. That's going to be another limitation, and not necessarily designed for SMBs. It's going to be too big for SMBs. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. We are also going to include a detailed report that is going to have much deeper analysis. If you care for that, you might want to download. This podcast is available in the audio form on major podcasting platforms. So if you prefer that, you might want to check there. And then if you have not checked our digital transformation report, we include a lot of this analysis as well as the ranks as part of that one report. So we are going to have the QR code displayed throughout this video. So you might want to check that. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.